Y'all black men are not voting for Kamala Harris, and I'm sorry, you can say whatever you want about me. You can call black men whatever you want. Black men are not going for Kamala Harris for a lot of different reasons. First of all, let's get into these Obama comments from the past couple of weeks. Now, this is what I think happened. First of all, they have been trying to present to you a woman who is we're going to call her biracial. Like, we'll call her biracial to be polite. But at best, this woman is maybe 25% black. Obviously, she has an Indian mother and a Jamaican father. And it's becoming more clear that his ancestry is a little bit Irish and Jamaican, right? So we're going to go ahead and just call her a biracial black American woman. Now, this is what I think happened a couple of weeks back. The DNC pretty much sent Obama out to start chastising black men for not being interested in Kamala Harris. This is a woman who is not married to a black man. This is a woman who does not have black male children. This is a woman who does not have any black men really anywhere near her in her life, okay? But they sent Obama out, who acts as the kind of surrogate father for all these fatherless, young black boys that are running around America, to chastise black men for not being excited enough to vote for this biracial black woman who is not married to a black man and has no black children. All right. That's the first thing. And what I do not think that they anticipated is the blowback from that. This is what I think. I think that Barack Obama was supposed to sound the alarm, and then all of a sudden, all of these black liberals in media, whether it's the CNN libs or the MSNBC libs, or all of these paid black liberals in media, because by the way, they're all on the payroll from either the DNC or some liberal activist organization. Every single black person that you see in media, particularly on the Democrat side, is in some way, shape, or form on the payroll. Don't get it twisted. And so now I believe that they thought that he was supposed to signal to everybody else that it was totally cool to start attacking and disrespecting and denigrating black men for not being excited enough to go ahead and vote for Kamala Harris. All right. But it backfired. People got mad. Black men were starting to say, wait a minute, why are we the only group of people in this country that are chastised, that are bullied, that are spoken down to like children when we decide to make a political choice that is better for us, or if we're just not super excited about, being led by this woman who, you are trying to brainwash us into believing is black for all these, for these past couple of months, right? And so black men weren't having it. And predictably, a lot of these paid black liberals and media went on their black male bashing tangent. Yeah, obviously, Joy Reid was bashing black men. I believe that she said that we have fascist tendencies. And all these other ones did the same thing as well. And that's par for the course, right? Because you have to understand that when you really break down the representation of black people in media in general, if you do notice that when you look at a lot of the liberals that are black, that are given mainstream platforms on mainstream media, they are almost all women. Joy Reid on MSNBC, Abby Phillips on CNN, the other CNN contributors. There are very few black men, even Democrats, that are able to speak up for black issues, because the DNC and the liberal media complex and all of these people have decided that they are going to make black women the leaders of the community, right? And Kamala Harris, who is not even black, and I don't care what anybody tells me, anybody says to me that Kamala Harris is not black, right? But Kamala Harris is supposed to be the apex of all of this other stuff, of how black men have been silenced and bullied and all of this stuff. She was supposed to be this black woman that all these black men that vote for Democrats and vote for the left were supposed to stand up and get behind. And then black dudes are like, nah, I ain't doing it. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend to say that all these black men are just rushing to vote for Trump. I think that there are more black men that are going to vote for Trump and Republicans than there have been in the past. But they're just saying that at this point right now, they don't want to make that choice. And when you break it down, from a culture perspective, And there's a lot of little wars between black men and black women that have been, going on the internet. And I think that when Kamala loses, and I do believe, I truly believe that she's going to lose. I truly believe that Americans are just not dumb enough to put this woman in charge of the free world because she's too dumb for the job. It's very obvious that she is. And so what happens when Americans decide not to make that choice? And I do believe that black men are going to be a large part of the Democrat electorate that sort of peels off and either, number one, doesn't show up for Democrats, or number two, just decides to vote for Trump. And if you look at some of the polling right now, that as opposed to 2020, when you had 90% of black Americans that were polling and voting for Joe Biden, right now, that number is down to 78%. And a lot of those people that are being peeled off are black men because in particular, and quite specifically, they are sick of being spoken down to. They're sick of being lectured. They are sick of being shamed for making certain choices. They are sick of being told that they need to somehow step behind and fall in line behind a black woman. They're tired of it. And when you look at how the mainstream media represents blacks and black culture, it has put women as the forefront of the black community in a way that no other race of people does. You can look at that Rihanna Vogue magazine cover where she's leading A$AP Rocky and, he's carrying the kids like a wife. You can look at the Real Housewives of Atlanta. These women don't have husbands, they have wives. Candy Burris has a wife. She doesn't have a husband. That man's not a breadwinner. That man was the help when she met him. So the way that black men are represented all throughout the course of the media, everywhere you look, is in falling behind, in second behind black women. Now, look, that's not to say that black men don't need to get it together in certain ways when it comes to entrepreneurship, when it comes to building, when it comes to staying in homes, like all that other stuff. Like, I get that. And that is a valid criticism. But what I'm trying to get you to understand is how the media and the entertainment industry molds the perception of black men as weak, as docile, as falling in line behind black women, and how that bleeds into the political ideology that is right now telling black men that if you have a problem with Kamala Harris, then you need to shut up and get in line, black man. And they're not having it. And they shouldn't, I think. And I think that what you're going to see, and we've seen a lot of the messaging start coming around as we, start closing the door on this election, thank God, because I know everybody's tired of it. Kamala's losing. She has no momentum. She's not getting the black numbers that she needs. The more interviews she does, she's exposing herself to be a complete moron. That is not, if this woman can't deal with Bret Baier on Fox News, how the hell is she going to deal with Vladimir Putin? How is she going to deal with the people that actively want to harm America? She's not. And people are not going to trust her to do this. And who is going to be scapegoated when she loses? Black men. Because white women, even white liberal women, don't dare speak of white men in the ways that black liberal women, particularly in the mainstream media, feel emboldened and empowered to speak down to black men as if they are children. I have this theory that in the black community, the women have become men and the men have become children. And that is exactly what is going on. If the women are men and the men are children, where are the men? There are good black men out there. There are men that are entrepreneurs. There are men that are builders. There are men that understand basic economics because they run a business, because they run payroll, because they do things in the real world. And when these men look at the policies of Kamala Harris in the Democrat Party, they know that they're ridiculous. And the idea that since Kamala Harris has spent her entire campaign pretty much ignoring black men, and as soon as there's some blowback, they rush out this 5-point proposal to try to get black male votes, which is offensive. She says she's going to give y'all legal weed and free money to get your votes, black men, because this is what they think of you. It's what Kamala Harris thinks of you. This is what the Democrat Party thinks of you. And when you don't show up for them, and I do not believe that black men will, And when we as black men, when black men do not show up for these people, you are about to find out what they really think of you. And you're starting to see a little bit of it right now because they're scared, right? But when Kamala loses and when the DNC loses, you're going to see what the Joy Reids of the world truly think of you. You're going to see what all of these black women that have been empowered by the entertainment industry and by the mainstream media complex to represent Black America, you are going to see what these women think of you. It's not going to be pretty. Now, a lot of black men, like myself, got the memo quite some time ago that Democrat politics and policies just don't work for me. They don't work for me as an entrepreneur because I got a 6-figure tax bill. And these people want to take my money to give taxpayer-funded gender reassignment surgeries to illegal immigrants. And they want to take my money, and they think that I'm too stupid to know that when you have a Kamala Harris proposal that's talking about a $20,000 forgivable loan to black entrepreneurs, to black male entrepreneurs, number one, it's unconstitutional. It's never going to pass because it's racist. And number two, that is you telling me that you're going to give me my taxpayer dollars back. It's insulting to my intelligence as a black male entrepreneur, as somebody that knows what it is to run a business, as somebody that God knows I know what it is to pay taxes. But this is what they think of black men. And it's not just the bullying, it's not just the shaming, it's not just the lecturing, it's that they think so little of you to actually want to earn your vote. And they're going to send all these women that they've spent the last decade plus empowering and giving huge positions in mainstream media to do their bidding in lecturing and in shaming black men because they're not making the choice and you are not thinking in the ways that they want you to think. So I'm not voting for Kamala Harris. I think that there are a lot of black men that will not vote for this woman. They're certainly not going to be bullied and going to be lectured and going to be shamed in order to do this. And so if you're watching me, whether you're a black man watching me, white, Asian man, let's say, I don't know, lots of people watch me. But I really want you to think specifically if you're a black male watching this and you're pro-Kamala, pro-Trump or whatever. Why is it that whenever you see somebody like you on a CNN panel or a MSNBC panel, they're so deferent to all the other women on the panel? Even got Charlemagne, Van Jones, Bakari Sellers, they're all like this. Because they know that if for a second, if they actually spoke up and advocated for black men in ways that are deemed too forceful by either, the white cable executives that pay their bills, or a lot of the black women and men that follow them, if they were too forceful in advocating for black men, if they were dealing with the Joy Reid or an Abby Phillip or whoever in the world, and they said, no, wait a minute, I need you to be quiet while I'm advocating for black men, they know that their career will be over like that because that's not the role that they play. Thankfully, although I would love to have Van Jones's money, I would love to be getting $1 billion loan or donation or whatever from Jeff Bezos. God, I would love that. I would love to have the platform of some of these men, but with the platform of a Charlemagne or a Van Jones, or even to a much, much lesser level of Bakari Sellers, they're trapped. They're trapped. They can't even forcefully be a black man. They're effectively neutered by all this money that's being given to them. They have to shut up. They have to fall in line. They can never advocate for black men too forcefully because that's not what the people that are signing their checks want. They want them to shut up, fall in line behind the black woman. And that is what the DNC wants everyone to do, particularly black men, when it comes to Kamala Harris. I, as a black man, am not doing it. I think that very many black men are not doing this. And like I said, when you fail to do this, when you do not show up for Kamala Harris and the Democrats, when you do not vote for these people, I guarantee you, over the next 4 years, you're going to see what they really think of you. black man. So buckle up.